Lex Reads. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about the 100 best books of the 21st century according to the New York Times. It came out this month, and I was curious to see, first of all, how many Black authors are on there, and then the books that they picked. Now, I am on the website as voted on by 503 novelists, nonfiction writers, poets, critics, and other book lovers, with a little help from the staff of the New York Times Best Review. We sent out a survey to hundreds of literary critics asking them to name the 100 best books published since January 1st, 2000. Stephen King took part, so did Bonnie Grimmess, I don't know her, Claudia Rankine, James Patterson, Sarah Jessica Parker, Roxane Gay, Marlon James, Ming Jung Lee, and Jenna Bush Hager. Well, they named 2 Black people, right? So again, I'll put the list down in the description box. But for the Black authors that were on there was a total of 18 books that are by Black authors. After I went through the list, I want to see how many books on there that I want to read. And I have 3 of them that I want, and I'll talk about that. First, let's go through all of the Black authors that were on the list. So the first one on the list is Jasmine Ward, and she was on there twice. Sing Unburied Sing, and then Men We Reap. Now I have almost all of her books. I don't have the recent one that came out, which I think I am going to get it because it is about slavery, I believe. It's enslaved novel, and you guys know how much I love that genre, but have her books but haven't read them. I tried to read, I think was Sing Unburied Sing, was it? And I just couldn't get into it. I might try it again. Yeah, okay, because I have the thing here. Yeah, I couldn't get into it. Now, I think I'm going to try another one of her books. I think maybe I might go to this one. It is a memoir, and I do like memoirs, so both of her books, both of them were on the list, so that's impressive. Next is Wayward Lives, Beautiful Experiment, and this is by, is it Saadia Hartman? Now, this one, let's see. Black girls whom early 20th century laws distinguish as wayward for such crimes as having serial lovers or an excessive of desires or style of compartment that was outside white norms. Okay. Okay, I like the cover too. That cover is really pretty. Okay, next is Zadie Smith on Beauty, and then also White Teeth. So I have also, I think I have all of her fictional books, and this was on Beauty was on my TBR last year, and I DNF'd it because I couldn't finish it. This is a retelling or reimagine of Howard Zinn by y'all know the white man. And I got to, well, I can't even remember, but I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into the family, the sons. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try another book of hers. I have yet to try another book of hers. Now, White Teeth is on there also. And this says, one of the most talked fictional debuts of recent years, White Teeth is a funny, generous, big-hearted novel adored by critics and readers alike, dealing among many other things with friendship, love, war, 3 cultures, and 3 families over 3 generations. It is a life-affirming must-read of a book. Now, when it said 3 generations, 3 different families, that intrigued me. I might get into this. Next is An American Marriage by Tari Jones. I really did enjoy this book. I remember when I read it, I kept on listening to interviews from the author, Tari Jones, and I love her so much. She's another one that is so funny, but she's so smart. Oh my gosh, this woman is so smart. But and I love her interviews. I started really watching those interviews, and that's what inclined me to read this book, and I enjoyed it so much. I remember I wasn't even done with reading this book, and I went to a used bookstore and I got the rest of her books. That's how much I love her writing. Also, I've read all of her books except one, which is her first debut novel. It is about the Child Atlanta murders. Y'all know how I feel about black children getting murdered. It just, oh my goodness, my heart. So I'm gonna have to get my mind right for that one. But I do like her writing. I honestly do. And this story was just, it was fantastic. Next is All Hurt Haggard Children by Edward P. Jones. And then also by him, Known World. The Known World. Now I have this book, haven't read it. Isn't this about a black man that owns slaves? And with the All Hurt Haggard Children, I was reading a synopsis and I'm not down with things that deal with the devil and all that stuff. You know, girl, to me you got to be careful with things like that. So I was like, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on that. But yeah, like one character meets the devil, I'm not into that. No, I don't do Satan. So this one I do want to pick up. Next is The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Now I do want to pick this up because while I was reading this book and also listen to the interviews of the author, she mentioned that book while she was doing her research. Next is Heavy by Kiese Lamons. I know this also is a memoir. A lot of people said that, first of all, this book is fantastic, they said. And then a lot of people said if you listen to it on audio, it's like a whole different experience. I think with that book, I do want to get it on audio and see. And then if I do like it, I will get the physical copy. Next is Toni Morrison, A Mercy. Now, this was shocking to me. It was shocking that, well, first of all, I was shocked that they picked this book, but I wasn't shocked that she was on the list. Now, I have read all of Toni Morrison's fictional catalog, and I always say Toni Morrison is very difficult to read. You cannot miss a line, a sentence, or word, because if you do, you are going to be lost the entire book. You might as well start over again. I would also encourage you guys, if you do read a Toni Morrison book, I would encourage you to listen to it while reading it. I think the only one that you can kind of get away with not doing that is Sula, because that is the simplest book that she has written, okay? Because her mind was so brilliant. But I mean, that basically is a friendship, you know, between two girls. You see them as they're, you know, younger and older, and there's some betrayal and things like that. And I think also her last book, last fictional book, God Help the Child, that one, yeah, I know. I think I would also recommend you guys listening to that. It's about a woman named Bride. It deals with colorism. She does something to get her mother's attention that harms another person. It's real deep. But this, I was shocked by, because not a lot of people know about this book. Not a lot of people talk about this book. When they talk about Toni Morrison, it's like, you know, The Bluest Eye, what else? Song of Solomon, Beloved. First of all, the book is so pretty, and look, that is so pretty. This book is during the 16th century, and it deals with slavery. It deals with indentured servitude. This was difficult to read. I'm gonna be honest, and it didn't grab me. And I like slavery themed books, but this just didn't grab me. Next is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Now, I have this collection, and I do have that book. This is a trilogy, the Broken Earth trilogy. Doesn't she write like science fiction, fantasy? Girl, I don't know. A co-worker got this for me for Christmas as New York's best selling trilogy from one of the most powerful fantasy writers of our time. Now, y'all know I'm not into fantasy. I think the only fantasy book I have read has been the first book of Harry Potter, and that was all right. But I've never read an adult fantasy. But I said, you know what? When I do start one, I probably will start with her because she is black. They do say that, you know, from the most powerful fantasy writer of our time. So I do want to try, you know, one day when I do get into fantasy, it's probably going to be this. Next is a Brief History of Seven Killings by Marlon James. Now, I don't have that book. I've only read one Marlon James book. It was the one that, like, Uprising. It was like a slave revolt. I can't find that book, but I do want to give him another try because I did like that book. But yeah, I think I only have one book of his. Next is Between the World of Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I do have that. Now, I haven't read it. I know this is kind of like is this kind of like the James Baldwin Fire Next Time, where like he's writing to like his nephew or whatever about like, you know, how to be a black man in America. Coates attempts to answer those questions in a letter to his adolescent son. I mean, he got praises from Toni Morrison, so look, that says something. But yeah, I haven't read it. Eventually I will read it. You know, I gotta be in the mood for things like this. I do have his first fictional book, The Water Dancer. Tried to read it and DNF'd it. I do need to. I'm gonna give that one more try, I think, eventually, but I wasn't feeling it. Next is one of my favorites, Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Now, when I saw her on the list, I was like, okay, I'm good now, because I just love her so much. And I mean, this story is good. This story simply, it's a love story. It's a love story. And you're not going to forget Afemalu, and you're not going to forget Obenze. And you're going to see immigration in a different light. You're going to see black hair in a different light. I mean, just everything. This book is so good. I need to revisit this book. Oh gosh, just, yeah, I gotta revisit this book. And my thing is, the next time I read this, I am going to, first of all, I gotta get rid of these tabs because these don't match the book. But second of all, I want to highlight and tab stuff that a family does. It's like, you understand, but at the same time, it's like, girl, why? Like, why did you do that? You know, but this is a conversational piece. It honestly is, but this is fantastic. Okay, next is Colson Whitehead, The Underground Railroad. Again, have not read this. And I haven't seen wasn't this a limited series? You guys seen it? Did you like it? Did they mess it up? Y'all know how sometimes they can kind of mess up some, you know, books that turn into movies, girl. But I think I will like this. Never read any Colson Whitehead before, and this is the only book I own by him. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like this. Cora is a slave on a cotton plantation in Georgia. Life is hell for all the slaves, but especially bad for Cora, an outcast among her fellow Africans. I need to read this. Oh, matters do not go as planned. Cora kills a white young boy who tries to capture her. Oh. Oh. This is okay. I have to visit this. I didn't know all this happened. Okay. Next is Erasure by Percival Everett. Now, I just read this year because I wanted to see the movie that was like based on it, the American Fiction. And I liked American Fiction, and I liked this book. Now, with him, his writing is experimental, but he can write, okay? But just know when you do, you know, read his books, he has a way of writing that is not conventional. For this one, I did enjoy it. I watched the movie first, and then I read the book, and I did like the movie. They kept hold of the story. I think one thing in the movie, they didn't go into detail about his father, Monk's father, and then they changed the storyline with his sister. Overall, they did keep the story, which I did like that. And the last book is The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. I mean, hands down, fantastic. If you guys have not read this, you need to read it. Well, I still need to finish Cast because you guys know that movie came out and that was fantastic. Oh my gosh. But this, you get a whole different perspective of migration. The stuff that she has in this book, they did not teach that in school. They did not at all. And there's a reason why. We know that. This was fantastic. And the fact that in some school districts, this book is banned, which is just like, why? I need to revisit again. And the next time I do, I am going to really highlight and tab. Okay, so that is it for the Black authors that were on the New York Times 100 best books. Again, there were 18 of them. Now, there's 3 books. Is it? No, wait. Yeah, there's 3 books on the list that I do want to read that are not by Black authors. The first is The Human Strain by Philip Roth. I've talked about this book. Now, I have seen the movie, have not read the book, and the movie was, oh my goodness, I loved it so much. And when I realized it was a book, I remember I got it the day after I watched the movie. I know it's dealing with, it's a professor. He gets accused of racism by a Black student, but he has a secret that he has been holding on for so many years that no one knows. And when you find out the secret, it's, oh my goodness. I really wish I would have read this before watching the movie, but again, I did not know that was a book. Because when I found out the secret, I was like, you have to be kidding me. Are you serious? So it's like, I'm already gonna know the secret, but I still want to read this book. And then next is Pachinko by Min Jing Lee. Now again, this is another example where I watched the series before I read the book, but with the series that came on Apple TV, it does they don't tell everything. I know one part of the story. I do know that they said that that series on Apple TV, they're going to do a second season, but I do want to read this. And then the last book I want to read, I don't have it. It is called Atonement. It says it's set in 3 periods: in 1935 England, Second World War, England and France, and present day England. It covers an upper class girl, half innocent mistakes that ruins lives, her adulthood in the shadow of that mistake, and a reflection on the nature of writing. Oh, and it looks like this book actually was made into a film. Now look, girl, I should read the book before I watch the movie. Yeah, that is the last book I do want to read on the list. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to this video. I have to say, with this list, I was very surprised that they had the amount of, Black authors on this list. They were 18. I was, if I'm being honest, I was expecting about 1 or 2, how they do us. Some of them books, I'm like, is y'all serious? That's what y'all think is the 100 best books of the 21st century? That's 100 years. I mean, that's a long time. And that's some of the books y'all picked. But yeah, I know. There's so much politics wrapped into that. I never take these lists seriously. I honestly don't. I just wanted to see how many Black people were on that list. Like Issa Rae said, I'm rooting for the Black people. So that's all that mattered to me. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for you. And I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.